This is a rant on upgrading and updating, not being about upgrading and updating. Today I tried to look up oxidemod.org, which is now umod.whatever, and find a Oxide mod for Rust Legacy. Now, granted, this is an old program. Rust Legacy is from 2013, 2014, or 2015, depending on the version you have. And just like everything else about this product, somebody wants it to go away. I'm going to bring up other examples as well, but let's just do this one. The forums used to have all the information on how to use the Oxide mod, and also had people discussing how to alter the game itself so that you could do things like add a map, add a much better map, make the game have extensions and capabilities that are really cool. And you can download new clients and server versions of the programs for doing this, but now it costs something. Okay? Is it the people who originally created it? No, these were created by user groups, hundreds of authors that they didn't get paid, right? Okay. Well, I'll look it up on archive.org. Okay, well, it links to any place else but the website. Okay, so it eventually ends up at GitHub. GitHub is notorious for keeping backup copies of everything because basically if it's a 9 megabyte file, which it was, it should be pretty easy to find this, right? And I'm sorry, but on the internet now, a 9 megabyte full-sized file isn't something anybody has a reason to delete. It's such an insignificant amount of space and such an insignificant amount of bandwidth. Watching the first couple of seconds in some of the videos you watch on YouTube is 9 megabytes. Why would you go out of your way to make the extra effort to delete it? And also, why would you hire a lawyer to find every copy of it on the internet and fucking destroy it? That's not what happened in this case, but that does happen. I've seen indie developers decide they're going to not sell their product to some big company they're getting bought out by. They weren't given any money. They just decided that since they're not going to make any money off of it, out of spite, after getting paid, they're going to go off and tell every copy to self-destruct, but they got to make sure all the backup copies are erased for copyright reasons. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act allows people who have a good lawyer to just tunnel into people's computers and destroy files. Period, full stop, it allows it. Unless you're running an operating system that doesn't let that happen. But let's talk about Oxide.org, oxidemod.org. It was to umod, and umod is for lots of things. The Oxide mod is for all sorts of things, but they don't want it to be for this. So the effort was made. Let's go on to a place that has the source code and the actual 9 megabyte file. I'm not even sure that's all the files I need to be able to tinker with this. And let's get rid of it. Let's go to the extra effort of hitting delete, and in one case, just deleting the links and doing convoluted crap to corrupt the ability to find it. And then the next layer, of course, to just leave a copy up. I found it. I downloaded it. But there's a problem here. You see, it's not the program, it's the community. Doom, the original video game, is okay. But it wouldn't be whatever the fuck it is this week with how many versions of Doom exist that have progressively gotten bigger and more beautiful and more awesome. Would have never happened if people didn't break the rules and start making their own levels. The original level editors were not authorized. The source code was released much later. The only reason people like Doom is they can mess with it. Unreal, the video game, has an editor with it if you get a copy of it, if you can still get the real copy of it. Most games written with Unreal Engine are just showcases for the Unreal Engine. It's in and of itself the product. The game is irrelevant. I went through and fixed a bunch of bugs in the Unreal game because I had the editor. I could add in the cutscene at the beginning when you first get off the ship, where you turn to the left and there's this monster that can fly. And I put him back. I found some people who found the little tags for it and put him in. That's all it took. And he flies away and disappears in a wall. I extended the game by adding in connections and extra tunnels because it's easy. The game became popular because people could do things with it. Not just point, click, and have a little casual game to play. The whole point of the game Rust is that you go in and start with basically a blank slate with resources and build literally anything you want to. It's gotten to the point that it's borderline a creative environment. You can build a computer in Minecraft. Rust has almost the same number of components now. You can build a computer in Rust. People are already messing with it. It seems more convoluted, but it isn't. In fact, a lot of people are learning logic gate technology and building what would be TTL circuits, figuring out time delays, putting in delay lines, and doing all sorts of things. I've seen an arithmetic and logic unit built. When are we going to be running Minecraft within Rust? I don't think it's going to be very long. None of that happens if you tell people, you have to update to the latest version of an operating system that'll keep you from doing that, and our version of our program that will uninstall the old versions and won't let you play if you're trying to tinker with it. Like everybody. Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it was called. I don't remember the name. It's just called Cyberpunk. Just look it up. I forgot the name, the numbers at the end. It doesn't matter about that. If they released Cyberpunk and said, this is as far as we've been able to take it. This is your world. Here are the tools to rebuild it in your image. Cyberpunk would be a monster, but they're not going to trust you with that. They want control. They don't care if they lose money. Nobody cares if they lose money. They'd rather burn shit to the ground. It's not the book burners that you got to worry about. It's the people who say, we're updating you. Windows 7 would automatically download Windows 8 against our will. No matter how locked down my computer was. Running Windows 7 Black Edition for black hat hackers. Still tried to download Windows 8. We ended up being furious with them to the point that we altered our computers to where that nothing would download from Microsoft's website at all unless we manually said give permission. And we'd sit there and wait for the call-in, the callback to do it. And we all, on the internet, tracked down every single ping source, every single push notification, whatever you want to call it, and blocked each individual one, and then wrote a really simple short scripted text file called a reg file to alter the registry so that when it was rebooted, it would actively prevent it from doing it again. Microsoft Corporation did not like Windows 7 because too many people locked it down. Mostly gamers. Windows 8, almost impossible to lock down at the time. They wanted that window of opportunity so they could spy on every key press. And now I want you to pay attention to what's happening in the news. Now, I want you to understand this. If you are a conservative, stop watching. Okay, we done? The number of the beast, the sign on the forehead and the hand, the thoughts and actions is of all of us. We are the beast. Just like I'm screaming into the void because you are the void. And when you scream back at me, I am obviously the void. We are the monster, the Antichrist. The thing that causes society, culture, the world to be destroyed is us. Not acknowledging that it's our fault because we keep letting shit happen. This isn't Rome falling. And it wasn't built in a day, and it didn't fall in a day. It faded slowly through neglect. And we're probably all better off for it, honestly. I want websites that load no matter what web browser I have because the original HTML format and the original World Wide Web were agnostic about what browser you used, which version it is. If you made something that wouldn't work with a plain text file that was renamed HTML and just displayed, if you went out of your way to make sure that wouldn't load because you wanted to make sure you could shit can the entire previous 10 years of the internet and make it inaccessible, no one would fucking put up with it. And yet most of you are using a cell phone right now that won't let you look at old code. They won't let you look at an FTP site, even though that was the way to transfer files. Well, it's insecure. No, it fucking isn't, and you know it. Well, no, the wells run dry. It's a bullshit excuse. Stop repeating what your oppressors tell you to say. Stop shitting out, vomiting up, regurgitating the same fucking lies. GitHub hid the file, so I loaded up an archive version. Archive.org was told by GitHub and by oxidemod.org, and other pages to erase the history that they'd recorded. Remember that archive.org had permission for robots equals yes before. Then they adhered to their new policy to actively erase shit to avoid lawsuits. Meanwhile, by definition, if you put shit up on the internet, you're allowing people to download it because in order to view it on their screens and in their web browsers, they have to download it. When we watch videos on YouTube, the computer's downloading the fucking video. You can't demand that people don't download it. They can't watch it if you do that. That's a basic technical limitation. So what did people do? They came up with streaming. The stream is still downloading it. It just is only supposed to do it to erase it. And there's digital rights management. But the only way your browser or your computer can play it is to, in RAM, decode it and decrypt it. The digital rights management is a requirement of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, just like there used to be a tax on VHS tapes because of the assumption that you're going to break the law by recording the news, which is the only reason we have any history of it, because many news sources actively try to erase history. They're the ones who report on history. They want to own it. A little while ago, I uploaded a video that people put thumbnails and watermarks all over so they could claim a copyright of it so they can monetize history. A statement made by a politician that sounded stupid, but I wanted to put it in context by getting rid of all the distractions so you could watch it without editing. Don't agree with the person. They're talking about bringing people back from the dead and interviewing them. Okay, fine, but it's what that person said. Yammering over the top of it while adding a laugh track to completely distract us, again, from what the fuck is happening in front of us. Or try to convince us we're supposed to think something. Manipulatively. Is that a word? Well, it is now. It's not the file that I was trying to download. It was the knowledge. A version I'm messing with called Rust Rome. It has absolutely a bunch of hotkeys you can use and a bunch of features. But it's based on a bunch of mods and add-ons that were plugins, probably for Oxide Mod, that the documentation's gone because people have actively suppressed the information. Because the scarcity is what they make money off of. This was original information that was given out for free, or somebody's pet project, or open sourced on purpose so that you couldn't erase it. But someone comes along and says, yeah, hit the delete button. I'm not making enough money. Whether it belonged to them or not. It's not update, upgrade, move on, and innovate, extend, and extinguish. It's just book burning all over again. And in the area you're sitting in, you're soaking in, that's what's going on. It's easier to burn binary. It's easier to burn the bits than it is the paper. Fahrenheit 451. It's Fahrenheit 404. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.